Overmoipi City's danger zone, a huge bone dragon dives right in. Its frosty aura freezes the ground, trapping the soldiers right behind it. The troops are stunned by the wave of undead and realize it's all because of one guy, White Knight. Even Zichuan, the guildmaster, can only stare in horror. He sees the city can't stand against the power of just one person. The name is whispered in fear, Necromancer White Knight. There he stands, the man himself, a terrifying monster in human shape. From his throne on the beast, he commands his legion of the damned. Talk about a boss-level entrance. He smashes a glowing skull, draining its energy to fuel his dark magic. Even this massive army isn't enough to satisfy his thirst for power. He flashes back to a time when he was on death's brink, with just a single year left. We jump a few months earlier to a hospital on Blue Star. A voice warns bedridden Mubai not to look for her after she dies. As she begins to unplug his life support, but he's still there, conscious, aware, completely helpless. The one pulling the plug is his own fiancé, Liu Ruyan. She coldly justifies it, saying he's already as good as dead. The world's top gamer, now stuck in a paralyzed body, silently boils with rage. Just then, the door bursts open as a guy shouts, demanding to know why she's dragging her feet. It's his classmate Zhao Su, suspecting she's having second thoughts about their scheme. Zhao Su spills the rotten truth behind their betrayal, $1 billion legacy. It was a 5-year con, starting with the crash that left Mubai for dead. They hover over him, mocking his survival and promising this is the end. Talk about a shady long-term scheme. With a final cruel shout, Zhao Su yanks the breathing mask off his face. Liu Ruyan stops him, not out of pity but because she wants to celebrate elsewhere. She's whisked out, leaving Mubai to suffocate in silence. Rage and despair surge through Mubai as he tries to move a body that won't obey. The heart monitor flatlines, marking his end. Talk about a dramatic exit. His hand goes limp, and he wonders if this is truly his last moment. Just as darkness closes in, something impossible lights up the sky. A massive purple monolith crashes down from the heavens, announcing a new reality, the Myriad Worlds game. A voice echoes worldwide, telling humanity a massive transmigration will start in 30 seconds. For some, it's an exciting fresh start, a chance to begin in a world without pay-to-win tricks. For others, it's a nightmare. A terrifying unknown, where their wealth and status mean nothing. Even Zhao Shu and Liu Ruyan hear the call, and he sneers at the idea of Mubai surviving long enough to join. When the countdown hits 0, people worldwide start dissolving into light. But in that hospital room, Mubai is still breathing, his mind racing with the wild news. Tears of rage and desperation pour from his eyes as he clings to this last hope. He refuses to die, not now, not when a second chance is on the table. As the world is swallowed by a blinding purple light, Mubai gets pulled in with it. The world erupts into chaos as humanity realizes the transmigration has started. Some are terrified, begging to go back to the lives they knew, while others embrace the chaos, happy to start a new life. Mubai reappears in a strange, ethereal place called the Descender's Temple. For the first time in years, his limbs feel strong again, and he can stand. A system message welcomes him to the game, runs a body scan, and asks him to pick a name. He picks the name that'll soon strike fear, White Knight, and the system kicks off his talent awakening. Power is measured from F up to legendary SSS. As energy surges, he not only gets a strong talent, but also unlocks a forbidden S-rank skill called Promotion. It can boost any item by 1, 2, or even 3 tiers, though the highest level drains his own lifespan. The system then asks him to choose a class for his new life. He's shown 4 major archetypes, wondering which fits his new talent best. But before he can pick, a notice says his stats don't meet the requirements. Given his starting stats, only one path is open, Necromancer. The system forces the choice, locking him into that class instantly. He has no say at all. When the light fades, he's holding a skull-topped staff. He thinks being a necromancer isn't bad until he checks his stats. Guess he didn't read the fine print. He's got only 1 health point, so any touch could end him. With no other options, White Knight decides to gamble everything. A thought crosses his mind. a gamble using his new promotion talent. He uses his one free Cataclysm promotion to upgrade his whole class. Without hesitation, he confirms the wild choice. The system rewards him, upgrading him to the exclusive hidden class, Death Sovereign. But a countdown shows the game officially starts in 10 seconds. As the final seconds tick, his thoughts turn to Liu Ruyan and Zhao Shu, vowing to make them pay. The temple shatters while the system explains the brutal death penalty. You lose levels and lifespan. Sounds like a game over screen. He appears in a bustling novice village, surrounded by other confused Blue Star players. Some panic, some see adventure, but White Knight stays laser-focused. Ignoring the chaos of players hunting for groups, he decides it's time to test his new powers. His new class grants a few starter skills, the first a basic F-rank summon. The second is a simple F-rank attack, a blast of soul fire. He smirks, knowing these are just the start of his arsenal. Then he spots the A-rank skill lifelink, letting him share HP with his summons. And an S-rank passive that massively boosts his undead minions. With lifelink, his fragile health isn't a fatal flaw anymore. Suddenly, a glowing grimoire appears right before him. It's the Book of Death, an exclusive item for the Death Sovereign class. Ignoring the book's locked potential, he decides to try his most basic power. Sometimes the basics are the best. With a surge of dark energy, he summons his first skeletal soldiers. To his surprise, 2 skeletons appear. His Cataclysm trait doubled the effect, a perk of his new class. He notes that even though there are 2, they don't look that strong. His show instantly draws another player's attention, who offers to team up. But White Knight coldly declines, preferring to go solo. The guy scoffs, mocking summoners as White Knight just walks away. He watches other players struggle pathetically against the weakest mob, a free-range chicken. A simple level 1 chicken, yet it's a real challenge for unprepared newbies. Even chickens can be tough. Nearby, others watch enviously, assuming he's just blessed with a powerful talent. He walks past them, promising not to steal their kills because he's after bigger targets. He heads into the woods for his first worthy opponent. It isn't long before a pack of monsters pops out of the trees. They're level 2, red-eyed rabbits with a nasty special attack. His skeletons jump in, trading blows with the vicious critters. Satisfied he doesn't have to lift a finger, he decides to summon a few more, unleashing dark magic to bulk up his ranks. His undead soldiers easily overwhelm the low-level mob. The first kill comes fast, giving him a nice experience boost. He checks his status, seeing lifelink already saved him from his 1 HP weakness. Choosing not to draw attention, he continues his hunt with just 4 skeletons in tow, standing back, keeping a low-profile bro. Letting his undead army handle the dirty work. His effortless leveling doesn't go unnoticed. Others whisper about his S-rank talent. And just like that, he hits level 1, earning a fresh batch of attribute points. He splits them between spirit to power his summons and agility for survival. Then a daring thought hits him: if he can promote his class, why not his skills? He takes the gamble, and the system confirms massive success, upgrading every skill. He scrolls the new descriptions, realizing the insane power he just unlocked. The new life-sharing skill is a game changer, turning his 1 HP weakness into a pool of thousands. With this new power, he decides there's no need to hold back, unleashing his full might. Since he's upgrading everything else, he turns to his exclusive item, the Book of Death. Its upgrade is a minor disappointment. So he decides the real level grinding starts now. He leads the charge, sending his skeletons into a pack of razor-claw cat demons. A wicked grin spreads across his face as he prepares to summon his full army of 20. Thanks to his upgraded skills, that grin says, "Take that, monsters." A new soldier can be summoned every 2 seconds, creating an unstoppable wave of bone. The cat demons stand no chance, falling one by one to his relentless undead legion. Experience pours in, and in a flash of light, he's already hit level 2. But he's not stopping there, summoning an even larger wave of skeletal spirits. With a triumphant roar, he orders his ever-growing army to press the attack. Now that's a bone-shaking entrance. Half an hour later, he and his legion reach the entrance of the first dungeon. the Mist Forest. The system warns him about the danger of going alone, but White Knight simply confirms, confident in his army. He's immediately prompted to pick a dungeon difficulty, from normal all the way up to hell. He doesn't even blink, just dives right into the hardest difficulty available. The game gives a quick yes to his daring choice, opening a swirling red portal that takes him into the terrifying Mist Forest. He steps inside, and the fog is so thick he can barely see his own hand. He commands his bone soldiers to fan out through the mist, scouting ahead and carving a path. He isn't breaking a sweat. His command reaches a full 100 meters around him. Soon a scout spots the first target, an elite level 8 mist treant. Those skeletons could use a gym membership. A fierce grin spreads across White Knight's face. This is exactly what he's after. He orders an attack. His minions swarm the beast, but the treant counters with an entangle spell. Thorny vines burst up, snaring a soldier and crushing it to pieces. White Knight stays calm, knowing one elite can't beat his entire army. The treant falls, and he notes the huge experience gain makes the high difficulty worthwhile. Then a new threat emerges from the mist, a massive serpent with glowing red eyes. It lunges in a surprise attack, but White Knight is faster, blasting soul fire. He scoffs, ready to roast the level 8 mystery python. The spell connects, searing the beast's scales and dealing a solid hit. Before it can recover, his whole legion of flaming skeletons swoops down on it. The python is overwhelmed in seconds, and another wave of experience washes over him. He notes that even with his high stats, his own spells can't match the damage his minions dish out. Surprisingly, the monster drops a piece of gear, his first loot ever. It's a junk leather armor, not useful, but he can sell it for a quick profit. With the prize stashed, he leads his undead legion deeper into the woods. The dungeon wastes no time, hurling the next wave of monsters at him. But for White Knight, it's just a harvest waiting to be reaped. His soldiers instantly swarm the nearest treant, blades flashing. Meanwhile, another group attacks the giant pythons mercilessly. It's a one-sided slaughter, as his army tears through the dungeon mobs. Experience pours in, and in a flash of light he rockets up to level 5. Level 5 already? Talk about fast-track leveling. A triumphant grin spreads across his face as he feels the new power surge. The battle drops a mountain of loot, a new wand and several skill books. He checks his new stats, shrugging off the wand as too weak for his goals. Then he sees his exclusive item, the Death Codex, has leveled up with him. Now it gives a huge boost to all his stats and doubles his damage against undead. Feeling confident, he summons his full legion, ready to take on the dungeon boss. With his army behind him, he pushes deeper into the mist to hunt his prey. There it stands, the final challenge of the Mist Forest, a colossal crimson-scaled beast. It's a silver-ranked Mist Python King, flanked by 2 elite guards. He hesitates, wondering if his minions can take a boss with over 80,000 hit points. He quickly brushes the doubt aside, ordering his spectral soldiers to charge. The undead legion crashes into the giant serpents, kicking off the final dungeon battle. The Python King bites first, instantly shattering a skeleton. White Knight stays unfazed, confident that raw power can't beat his endless numbers. He orders it, and his army swarms the 2 elite guards. The smaller pythons fall quickly, giving him a nice surge of experience. With the guards down, he gathers his magic, telling his legion to focus on the boss. A blast of soul fire erupts against the serpent's scales. The beast roars furiously, but otherwise seems unharmed. White Knight gapes in shock, realizing his own damage is pitiful against this foe. He reverts to his main plan, letting his undead army swarm the colossal beast. When the boss is a giant snake, you just keep the horde coming, no need for a snake charmer. The Python King swipes its tail powerfully, sending his minions flying. White Knight grits his teeth, seeing each bite kill a soldier, but orders them to press on. The Python King thrashes wildly, shattering his minions easily. Then he senses a shift, maybe the boss is gearing up for a final attack. The serpent rears back and spits a massive glob of corrosive venom. He's shocked seeing it fly straight at him, realizing the boss is smart enough to target the summoner. But the acid washes over him harmlessly, and he smirks, protected by a shared health pool of over 100,000. With a wild grin, he charges forward, gathering soul fire for the final blow. He unleashes his magic as his undead legion swarms the beast in a final, overwhelming assault. The colossal serpent finally collapses, and a massive wave of experience washes over him. He stands victorious as the system announces he's the first player to solo a boss and the first to beat a silver rank 1, showering him with rewards. The news ripples through the novice village, leaving players in disbelief. Those stuck on basic mobs can only gripe about the unfairness. Elsewhere, a woman with long dark hair notes that a solo kill triggers a server-wide announcement. Her companion, a guy named Maple Leaf Sheixeo, takes down a wild boar easily. Even he admits White Knight is stronger, since a silver rank boss is beyond his current power. The woman, known as Wealthy World, speculates White Knight must have an SS rank talent to be so far ahead. Her teammates wonder if they should try inviting this mysterious player to join them. She smirks, sure no one can refuse her invite. Meanwhile, White Knight gets flooded with endless friend requests. Annoyed, he decides he has no time and just rejects them all. Amid the loot, he finds life soul stones that can extend his lifespan. A wicked grin spreads as he uses his promotion talent on them. The upgrade is a huge success, quadrupling the stone's power to grant 120 days of life. He sorts the rest of his haul, finding the skill books don't fit his class. Only a single poison ring catches his eye, and he uses his talent on it too. The ring upgrades to gold grade, now giving bonus stats and a strong poison effect. He reflects on the boss fight, seeing his skeletons are too weak. With his new wealth, he decides to upgrade the summon skill. The Tier 2 sublimate option costs a hefty 5 gold, but he takes the gamble, knowing power is priceless. 5 gold? That's a small price for world-dominating bone troops. His F-rank skill evolves into a D-rank power, now able to summon armored skeleton soldiers and archers. He laughs, saying the 5 gold was well spent as he summons his new skeleton archer. The new minions are a huge upgrade, with both warriors and archers boasting impressive stats. He grins, finally satisfied with his army's power, and tells them to keep scouting. He watches from afar as his undead legion pushes deeper into the woods. They quickly spot their next targets, a pack of level 8 elite goblins, and he orders his archers to focus fire. The command is followed instantly as arrows pierce a goblin's skull. His warriors then charge, overwhelming the rest with sheer force. The battle ends in moments, and he notes his leveling speed has shot up dramatically. Meanwhile, back in the novice village, players are still desperately trying to form parties. One ambitious player tries to start a guild, only to get shot down by the crowd. But the man reveals his own S-rank talent, a skill that lets him form a guild with massive buffs for members. The players instantly change their tune, clamoring to join his new powerhouse guild. Just as he basks in glory, a server-wide message interrupts. It's a pinned note from Wealthy World calling out White Knight. Other players are stunned, realizing someone spent a fortune to send a single message. White Knight sees the message, intrigued by the filthy rich player, and he agrees to meet. The moment he accepts, she offers him a staggering 100 gold coins to join her team. Skeptical, he asks 2 key questions: how she got the money and why he should trust her. She confidently replies money is no object, offering to prove it by showing her SSS rank talent. Her talent, God of Wealth, is revealed, a truly broken skill that literally prints money out of thin air. White Knight weighs the offer, realizing that while her talent is powerful, teaming up would only draw unwanted attention. So despite the promise of endless wealth, he politely declines, preferring to go solo. When it's raining money, it's still better to keep your own umbrella. Wealthy World fumes, shocked that anyone would dare refuse her. Her teammates take it in stride, figuring they can just keep grinding on their own without him. But just as they're about to move on, she gets another message from White Knight. He's not interested in joining, but wants to trade for the unused gear he's collected. She eagerly agrees to buy it all, but he warns the price will be high and she must wait. With a deal set, she promises her team that powerful new gear is on the way. Their chat is cut short as a hulking bronze-grade wild boar leader spawns right in front of them. As Wealthy World wonders if he can handle it, Maple Leaf strides forward to face the boss alone. Wealthy World devises a plan to secure the server announcement, ordering her team to back Maple Leaf's solo attempt. With a confident smirk, she sends her champion into the fray. Maple Leaf charges forward, his spear glowing with power as he prepares to strike. He lands a devastating blow, carving a deep gash into the hulking beast. The boar roars in fury, but Maple Leaf is already leaping over it for another attack. He easily dodges a clumsy swing from the monster's massive club. Maple Leaf smirks, noting the boss is strong but far too slow to be a real threat. Wealthy World leans back, smirks, feeling like they've already won. Meanwhile, White Knight and his crew just took down another silver boss, pushing it up to level 6. He sighs, bored with all the loot. Collecting it is the only real challenge left. He flips through his new gear and tosses aside a gold cloak, calling it too ugly to wear. Then a leader's emblem catches his eye, giving his stats a nice boost. He puts it on right away, while his undead crew keeps patrolling. Suddenly, one of his soldiers takes a massive surprise hit. A deep voice booms from the trees, asking why his undead army is hanging around. The system flashes that a hidden plot has triggered, sealing the exit and angering a new enemy. Trapped, White Knight readies himself to face whatever monster he just woke up. A massive goblin king bursts out of the woods, crushing one of his minions into dust. It's a gold boss, furious, and powered up by seeing his skeletal army. White Knight sees the real test, taking down a boss with 300,000 health in just 2 minutes. White Knight scoffs, convinced his endless army can swamp any single foe. His undead legion floods the Goblin King, blades and arrows chipping away at that massive health bar. The boss roars, repulsed by the undead, and readies a deadly swing with its glowing axe. A red flash later, it slams down, wiping out several skeletons instantly. White Knight narrows his eyes, noting that hit could kill any regular player in one hit. He smirks, saying the boss picked the wrong opponent, while he gathers his magic. A burst of soul fire shoots from his hand, catching the Goblin King off guard. Meanwhile, his skeleton archers keep blasting from afar. He grins, orders his minions to focus fire and blast the beast apart. Whoa, fireworks. But the Goblin King roars back, calling his own troops to crush the skeletons. These fresh goblin warriors are level 8 elites, driven by a madness that boosts all their stats. With a fierce roar, the Goblin King leads his newly summoned horde into the fray. White Knight grimaces, realizing the fight just got way more complicated. The two armies clash in a chaotic melee of bone and flesh. The Goblin King fumes, demanding why the Necromancer won't just leave him alone. He leaps high, shouting his warriors to crush the undead. The boss slams down hard, sending a massive shockwave straight at White Knight. The blast knocks him back, but he thanks the shared HP that soaks it up. Determined, he decides to fight fire with fire. He summons fresh soldiers, telling them to wipe out the goblin minions first. His skeletons clash with the goblin horde, cutting them down easily. White Knight then orders his archers to open fire. Arrows rain down, decimating the goblin ranks while their king watches in horror. The Goblin King roars defiantly, refusing defeat. He goes berserk, swearing never to be enslaved as his power surges. White Knight scoffs at the rant, gathering his own soul fire. A server notice pops up. Maple Leaf Sheixeo just snagged the first bronze boss kill, stealing the spotlight. Unfazed, White Knight goes full throttle, ordering his whole legion to charge the angry boss. The combined assault sends the Goblin King flying, slashing his huge health bar hard. He can only stare in disbelief, eyes glowing with rage as he's overwhelmed. The Goblin King falls, and White Knight gets swamped with rewards, hitting level 7 and earning the first gold boss solo killer title. Yet as he looks around, something feels off. The boss dropped nothing, making him wonder if the hidden plot is to blame. What a stingy boss. Meanwhile, back in the village, the new guildmaster shows off his own loot. His followers brush off Maple Leaf's bronze kill as luck, itching to hunt a gold boss themselves. But their celebration stops short when a new server-wide announcement shocks them. The guildmaster's confidence cracks as he wonders what SSS-level skill White Knight has. Elsewhere, Maple Leaf and his crew see the notice too, acknowledging White Knight's scary power. Wealthy World tries to comfort him, saying they've got plenty of time to catch up. With new fire, Maple Leaf decides it's time to take on the first dungeon too. But the system announces a hidden plot triggered, bumping the dungeon up to a terrifying disaster grade. Suddenly, weird blue energy pours from the fallen Goblin King's body. White Knight just watches, confused, not sure what he's just unleashed. A vision floods his mind, showing goblins enslaved and forced to labor, and others trapped in a fiery torment. He even spots one of his own skeletons, recognizing it from way back at the start of his journey. He suddenly realizes his minion used to be a goblin in a past life. The shock leaves him stunned. As the vision fades, the gathered energy bursts into a massive humanoid shape. It solidifies into a new, even tougher boss, the Skeleton King Rigu, a dark gold monster with a staggering 1.8 million health. The Skeleton King laments his fate, becoming the very thing he once fought. With a power surge, he summons his own warriors to the fight. A huge blade of dark energy forms in his hand, ready for battle. White Knight just stares in disbelief, wondering how a monster this powerful shows up in a newbie zone. Looks like the newbie zone got a boss upgrade. The new boss lifts its terrifying weapon, crackling with massive power. With a single command, he summons a fresh legion of elite skeleton warriors, mages, and archers. White Knight sees that just 6 of these newcomers equal his whole army of 20. He grimaces, wondering how to take on a boss with such massive firepower. A system message pops up. Hidden plot starts, village protection disabled, and a huge lifespan penalty for dying. Before he can react, the Skeleton King's blade slams down, dealing catastrophic damage to his minions. Chaos spills back into the novice village, catching unprepared players in the crossfire. But White Knight snaps back into command, ordering his archers to focus fire on the new threat. He quickly sees his 20 skeletons aren't enough to dent the boss's defenses. With no other choice, he risks it all on another crazy gamble, upgrading his summon skill again. First, he absorbs the life soul stones, turning them into precious time to pay the ultimate price. The system offers 3 new skill paths. He picks the durable skeleton warrior as his safest bet. It costs a massive 5 years of his life, but gives him a C-rank skill with an insane 500% health boost. With a wild laugh, he gets ready to summon his own legion of warriors to match the king's army. The new minions are absolute monsters, with nearly 70,000 health and a huge boost to all stats. His new champion crashes into enemy lines, dealing massive damage as White Knight tells them to hold the line. The 2 undead armies clash, with White Knight's new champions ripping through the enemy ranks. He laughs wildly, summoning even more soldiers to overwhelm the king. The Skeleton King roars, entering berserk mode that amps up its attack but drops its defense. White Knight sees this as an opening, ordering his legion to fire one final volley. The colossal boss finally crumbles, its reign ending as White Knight gets drenched in XP and hits level 9. The system rewards him for the server first dark gold kill, giving a massive haul of gold and life soul stones, plus a bonus for the first mist forest clear. Sweet loot. Another reward appears for clearing hell difficulty, and he grins, noting the stones can be upgraded to grant over 13 years of life. He's confused why the system logged a hell clear when he knows he faced a disaster grade threat. Talk about overkill. Meanwhile, back at the dungeon entrance, other players are still trying to form a party to go in. The guildmaster, Hong Tu, confidently welcomes new recruits into his guild. But the crowd's eyes suddenly lock on a new group, shocked to see them in full gear sets. Hong Tu turns, intrigued as he hears the name Wealthy World whispered among players. There she is, her party's pricey gear leaving everyone in awe of her wealth. Hong Tu walks up with a confident laugh, exchanging pleasantries with the famous player. He then looks at her, proposing a friendly wager between their parties. The bet's simple, a race to see who can claim the first mist forest clear. He lays out his terms. If he wins, her whole team must join his hegemony guild. If she wins, He promises his guild will help her with one task using all their strength. But Wealthy World just smirks, countering by demanding 3 favors instead of 1. Hong too laughs, confidently accepting her counteroffer. But before they can shake hands, both freeze in shock. He grits his teeth, seeing the bet now a joke, and suggests a race for the hard mode clear instead. A server-wide notice declares White Knight already cleared the Hell difficulty dungeon. Another follows, announcing he's the first in the whole zone to solo clear a disaster-grade dungeon. Hong too fumes in disbelief, calling the whole thing outrageous. With their grand challenge ruined, he leads his dejected guild members away. Looks like the party's over. Wealthy World just kicks back, letting his crew know we can take it easy now that the first run's wrapped. Meanwhile, over at another fresh player village. Some other player dives straight into a showdown with a goblin boss deep in the misty woods. He slickly blocks the boss's massive swing, getting locked in a fierce one-on-one. A lone swordsman wrestles his goblin king, scratching his head about what kind of skill White Knight actually brings. In another village, an armored dude mutters that the name White Knight rings a weirdly familiar bell. He ribs his pal Ryan, asking if it's one of her old fans. Turns out it's Zhao Shu and Liu Ryan, the pair who left Mu Bai for dead, and he nudges her about the loot she snagged from him. But the name triggers a flash in Ryan's brain, a shocking realization. She remembers that White Knight was actually the gamer tag of the guy they betrayed, Su Mu Bai. Zhao Shu rolls his eyes, convinced Mu Bai's dead because he was the one who finished him. He says even if it's him, she can just charm him once more. Ryan flashes a grin, sure her charm can win over any guy, whoever he is. Meanwhile, back in the dungeon, White Knight basks in his win, opening his inventory to scope out the epic loot he just scored. Among the drops is a new skill book that lets him siphon death energy straight from corpses. He can use that energy to heal himself or boost his undead minions. Without missing a beat, he upgrades the skill to a powerful SS rank using his promotion talent. He tries it out on the fallen Skeleton King and drains a huge chunk of energy. The dark power surges in, instantly maxing out his energy reserves. He's blown away by the sheer amount, realizing an undead boss is the perfect source for his new ability. He also spots an epic grade robe, a scaling piece that's probably the first of its kind in the whole zone. While admiring it, a sudden thought hits him. He scrambles through the boss's remains, determined to snatch every last item for Wealthy World. His eyes widen at the massive treasure pile, talk about a loot avalanche. Man, I'm jealous. The haul is insane, a mountain of gold gear and skill books from the fallen king. Then a system prompt offers to fuse 3 of his new summon skills into one. He says yes, creating an advanced skeleton summon and already scheming its next upgrade. With a single tap, he promotes the new skill for free, cranking up its power even more. Among the spoils, he discovers a mysterious crystal ball that saps a huge amount of mana. The system offers an epic quest linked to the orb, but White Knight's got his own plans. He uses his promotion talent to bump the quest up to legendary grade before tackling it. The crystal ball shatters, latching onto him and demanding he hit level 30 within a month. He just grins, impressed by the massive spell critical boost his new legendary item gives him. He smiles, admiring the fruits of his grind, a harvest beyond imagination. With his dungeon run wrapped up, it's time to meet Wealthy World. Her party hangs by the dungeon entrance, wondering why it's taking forever. Just then, White Knight steps out of the portal, and they shout his name excitedly. He's a bit surprised they're waiting, guessing they just came to hand over the cash. She asks if he's got the gear, but he brushes off her idea to trade in private. To make his point, he summons his freshly powered skeleton champions. Her party can only stare in awe, convinced he must be rocking an SSS-rank talent. He smirks, asking if she can actually afford to buy everything he's brought back. With one swift move, he drops a mountain of high-level gear at their feet. Her party is stunned by the sheer amount, while Wealthy World asks him to name his price. Without missing a beat, she tosses him a hefty sack of gold coins. White Knight catches it, knowing that's just the down payment. She wants to see the real treasures, and he grins, ready to flaunt his best items. With another flash, he reveals the real prize: gold-grade gear and rare skill books. He smirks, knowing she can't afford it all, but she promises to cover the rest tomorrow. He singles out one skill book, slapping a price tag of 500 gold on it. It's a C-rank resurrection skill, a game-changer that makes the party's priest jump for joy. Now that's a pricey miracle. Wealthy World instantly agrees, sealing the deal with a handshake. He remembers her SSS rank talent, realizing her confidence stems from an ability that literally prints money. But Wealthy World isn't done yet. He pitches another deal to help White Knight nail the next dungeon clear. White Knight fires back with his own condition, demanding all the life soul stones her team gathers. She agrees on the spot, sealing their new partnership. Meanwhile, White Knight keeps grinding, mowing down mobs for experience. He takes a short break, feeling satisfied that his leveling progress is right on track. A flash of light shows he's hit level 9, and he decides it's time to find an appraiser for his gear. He complains about the NPC's weird habits, who runs off to sketch scenery instead of doing his job. But a sudden system alert stops him cold. One of his skeleton champions was instantly killed. He realizes it took massive power to one-shot his minion, suspecting it was the very NPC he was after, Butler.